Welcome back to the Coach's Corner, sponsored by, as always, Premier Lending. Hey, I'm Devin Dubuque,
And I'm Coach Rick.
and we're here to talk about what's going on in the industry and how you can create success patterns and, what you need to be doing out there right now and always to create a successful business for yourself. But, this week, Coach, I don't think we had an agenda. What should we talk about?
Well, since I'm standing in the middle of a half-empty office down in Charlotte, North Carolina this afternoon, why don't we talk about change?
Mm,
And
yeah,
when I say
change.
half empty, there's movers coming in, they're going out. We've been in this location, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years, and we're moving just a couple miles down the road to a new office. And
Moving on up to the east
change,
side.
man, it changes hard, man. The ladies and the guys here in the office, they've been packing, they've been doing stuff. Heck, before we started, I had to go pull a nail out of the wall because I didn't like that picture hook like sitting behind my head. It looked like a bug on my ear. So, you know, change is one of those things in our industry that's inevitable.
It is. And
You
there's a
know,
lot going on right now.
there is a lot going on. And I think we mentioned last week, mergers and acquisitions and things like that. And so I'm sure at those companies, there's a lot of people unsure what's going to happen. My division got bought by this company. They do
Let's
this
let's name
different.
some of those companies, right? I mean, the big topic in the industry today is Rocket Mortgage, right? Who happens to be buying a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Redfin is a part of Redfin, right? And then you've got and Mr. Cooper too, right? I mean, there's all
Super
kinds of.
servicing and
It's
yeah,
crazy. It's crazy talk.
it's kind of
Pandemonium,
crazy.
cats and dogs living together.
It's kind of crazy when you already, and I give Rocket their props, man. They got one of the greatest marketing machines ever designed. And what I see from them is, they're trying to ensure their future. They're trying to ensure directing the leads from the start. They want
Oh
to
yeah.
take the leads from day one to the day they're closed, and they want to be their lender after they've closed. And so as a mortgage banker like we are at Premier Lending, who your loans eventually get sold to for servicing can be really really important because there are servicing companies out there that will absolutely try to keep that loan no matter what, which means they don't want that loan going back to the original loan officer who
Hmm.
had the relationship with that borrower, had the relationship with that lender, or I mean, realtor. You're in a situation now where not only are you competing against the rest of the industry, you're competing against the best marketing thing out there.
That's it. Well, and they just bought one of the largest portfolios known to man. I mean, again, so, your borrower is probably with them, whether you know it or not, right? At the end of the day, these companies buying up servicing. Rocket's also providing, a great alternative for people to place loans with them. So if you're a broker, you're probably using them. If you're a banker, you're probably selling to them.
Well, I tell you, with the stuff that they're doing, and I said the greatest marketing machine in the world. The reason I'm down in Charlotte from my beautiful hometown of Cincinnati is we had recruits in town, and we were showing these recruits some of the technology and stuff that we utilize for when people make a change to us.
Oh yeah.
And these gentlemen and the one lady that were all here were really blown away because you either work for a company that embraces technology or you don't. And just because they embrace it doesn't mean they understand it, know how to train in it, and how to utilize it to the max. Everything looks great when you watch a video of some expert doing it that knows how to do it.
Yeah.
But our system that I saw personally for the first time yesterday, the new system, literally from lead origination through afterlife, after closing, I've never seen anything set up at any company I've ever coached, any company I've ever worked for. Hopefully I never have to see another system again because, this is my last stop. The old guy's not going to stick around forever. And the tools, my goodness, when you're looking at making a change, you have to know what you're looking for. You
Yeah.
know, what kind of support do you need? Devin, you're one of the best people in the industry at helping manage newer, younger, lower. I don't want to say that wrong. People that aren't producing, five or more loans a month. You've got a system and a model that those guys, they need you. They want you, and then there's that next group. And
Yep.
some of them need you for their lower producers, but these people have branches. They have, whole areas. Some of them have, big regions where they've got people in multiple states.
But even
And
the regional stuff, coach, at the end of the day, when you're running a large team like that, and you can organize it utilizing technology, there's still opportunity for growth there too. Because, I was on a call earlier today and they were talking about, specifically, as you start to grow your market base, even though your intent is to keep up with communication to all the people that got you there in the first place, if you're not utilizing great technology to do that, you tend to fall behind, and it's not because you don't want to follow up. There's only so many hours in a day, and you're spread too thin, right? So you can either outsource that to team members to help do the follow up sequences for you, or you can use technology and bridge that. And I think that brings up another question too, as we're talking about change. There's a lot of people that are fearing the changes that are happening with AI, right? Like that's a big scary thing in the room, and we're embracing it, right? That's what you're talking about. We're embracing the AI, but I think it's all about how you use it. We were on a call just yesterday, and one of the branch managers, one of our most successful branch managers, hopped on and he said, "Hey, I want to ask, how does everybody on this call actually feel about AI? I see the stuff that we're doing, but I got to be honest with you." He said, I think that it's taken us away from the personal relationship side of the business, and it's turning us into a technology thing. How do y'all feel about that? And there were two big camps here, right? One of the camps was, stay away from it. I don't want to do anything, have anything to do with it, because I this is what got me here, being personal and face to face, right? And then the other side of it was, we'll use it to complement what you're doing, right? Because let's not take away from the personal face to face, but let's use the AI as leverage to actually do more so that we can get face to face more often, right?
oh,
And I want to elaborate on this too, because you talk about big businesses like Rocket, right? Who now own almost everything in this industry. They've got billions and billions of dollars that they can utilize to invest. And let's talk about this, guys, because at the end of the day, where this technology going? We already know that you can get employment information, income information off of a credit report. In addition to that, we've got products like Day One Certainty that can do asset verification. We're heading towards a marketplace where a client will literally be able to go online, fill out a form, authorize for their credit to be pulled, authorize for you to look at their assets, and they'll literally be able to get an approval real time and have the ability to select their payment without ever talking to somebody. And if you don't think that's going to happen soon, it's going to happen. So that means that we've got two different types of businesses that are going to be there. They're going to be that business, which is 100% where companies like Rocket are going, right? To just simplify it to the point where it's like, why would I talk to somebody else? It's that easy, right? And now you take out the layering of the loan officer and the loan officer assistants. That's going to happen. It's going to happen in our lifetime. But then there's the other side of the table, the clients that can't use that product because they wouldn't qualify if they didn't have somebody that was going to take the time to get in there and really help them either fix a credit situation with them, or help them understand how to qualify their income, or how to work with managing their taxes so that they can qualify, or some of the more exclusive products that are out there in the market that couldn't work in those scenarios. So I think we've got a bridge here that's about to happen. You're going to have the clients that can go that direction, and some people will, but you're still going to have personal connection. That doesn't mean we can't leverage AI to benefit from that. And that's what we're doing right here at Premier.
yeah. And I don't think with, our model, and that, if you want to go after to get referrals from financial planners, accountants, people, attorneys, to earn the business from people like that, you've got to still be personal. Your AI or your callers or whatever can help set up appointments and get you in front of people, but the personal touch is still going to have to be there. And as you're trying to grow your business, there's a difference between going from 0 to 5 loans than there are from, 6 to 12 or more. And a lot of people that shake their heads and kind of roll their eyes when you say that it's easier to go from 6 to 12 than it is from 1 to 5. But if you're utilizing the proper tools and your company knows how to use them, and they don't just roll it out and 90% of the people, you know this, 80 to 90% of the people never touch it, never use it. I always joke about me being the old man at the company, and you know as well as anybody, I don't use all the tools. I still pick up my cell phone to do 90% of what I do, and even I'm finally breaking that habit. But you know, I am embracing some of the new tools, and you are, and the team are automating things for me that is going to make me more effective. It'll make me close more opportunities. Mine is recruiting. You're on more, even though you do recruiting, you're more on the origination side, trying to increase these guys' volume. And I think what you're going to see is if you marry the best of both, but you're still at a company where you can talk to somebody, get help from somebody like yourself as our national sales manager, man, or national sales director, we're at the perfect spot. We're not so big that you're just a number, and we're not so small that we don't have the best of the tools out there.
That's it.
And we were talking earlier about, your specialty really is that 1 to 5 to get them to that next level. And then you know it as well as I do because you had to do it at your company. But you, myself, Ferris, Faraj, three people that have been coached for years by the Core and Zenix and some of these other companies that are out there, and some of the
Right.
new ones that we're following. The Go Coaching and the Forward Academy, and these guys that are doing some of the coolest stuff in the industry that we can talk about at another time. You
Or
know,
our good buddy Scott Hutchworth over at Redder
Scott, how could Scotty
and all the great people he's bringing on.
he was on my last meeting about 15 minutes ago before we started. I was on with Scotty and Ferris. And it's funny, the person that we were talking to, it's changed. Why was he changing? He made a move to from a lender to a broker,
Yep.
and he didn't ask all the questions he should have. And when you're bringing over 22 loans in a pipeline, and you have an assistant who basically was hired 3 weeks ago, who doesn't know anything, you just got shot down. Yeah, you got an assistant. Yeah, you didn't tell me I was going to have to train her. I don't have time to train her. 'Cause I want to go get the next 22.
Yeah.
So, asking the right questions, and anybody that's ever gotten an email knows that my tagline, and I don't use it as a tagline, I got pissed off one day because I talked to people who changed companies who never even sat down with me. And I sat there and thought all they did was make a change. They did not make a career decision.
Hmm.
And I'll go up against anybody with what we do at Premier Lending, show them the tools, but also show them the team that we've assembled
That's right.
to help them get to that next level. I've never seen a team, you and myself and Ferris and other people that maybe we can't mention their names.
Can't talk about it yet, Coach.
Can't talk about them
Give us
yet.
a week.
Yeah. We're a week away. So
That's it.
some of these people, to help these people grow their business and move to the next level,
Yeah.
is just amazing. So when you're thinking about making that change, look deeply into a company and look into multiple companies. I
Yeah.
want you to look at 2 or 3 companies if you're talking to us, because I don't want you 6 months from now or a year and a half from now saying, "Oh man, if these guys are this good at what they said they could do, I wonder what those other guys could do because they said, we could do this, this, and this." And it's like, man, if you've got the team that's helping you, you're producing, they're not hurting you, maybe change isn't right for you, even though
Yeah.
you think it might be. Maybe there's a little more money. Maybe the underwriters are, not putting overlays on it. You might be good where you're at, but if you're not in that position and it's affecting how you do business, and if you get up in any morning and you don't want to go to work, or you just don't feel like when you get home that you're in a good mood the rest of the night, then you need to look at making a change,
Yeah.
and looking at multiple companies helps. So
Well, and one thing you can ask, right? I think you can ask yourself, and then you can also ask this question to the people that you're looking at potentially joining on, right? Which is the question you need to ask yourself is, what's the one thing in my business if change solves 10 other problems, right?
Exactly.
You start
Yeah.
with that, right? What is the thing that changes for me? And if it's rate, change that question, because everybody is going to have that's subjectable, right? To where you're going, what the price was. That's a question on its own. Let's take that one off. Okay, so we fix rate. Okay, so what's the one thing other than rate? If solve fixes 10 other problems in your company. And then when you're in your interview talking to the recruiter or whomever it is that you're talking to, right? Hey, how are you going to solve this problem for me? Right? What is it that your team brings to the table that solves this problem? Because that's your problem, right? And at the end of the day, if they don't have a great solution for you, that's probably not going to be a good fit, right? Or if they say they have a solution and say, show me, and they can't show you how that they're going to solve that problem, that's a problem for you as well, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we get a lot of recruiters out there. They get paid to bring you in and to get you excited about coming to work for that company, and they will sell you a bill of sale all day long. You got to get a peek behind the curtains, right? Show me how you're doing it. Let me talk to people on your team. I want to know exactly how you're making this happen, because at the end of the day, if they're not willing to do that, if they're not willing to share the secrets and show you what they're doing, they're lying to you. And now you're going to make a lateral movement or maybe even a backwards movement, and you're going to be in the same place or worse, because now you have the transitional time that it takes to get up to speed, and you find yourself in a place that you don't love, right?
Yep.
So you've got to have that transparency, right, when you're looking at doing these types of things.
Well, and my one of my things that I always like to say to people is, if I can't look you in the eye and honestly tell you that if you made a change to the company that I'm directing you to, then I can't direct you to that company, because I could never affect your family, your income,
That's it.
your sanity. And I think I told you a story that a lot of people won't believe, but this morning, one of the recruits that committed to us, uh, you know, uh, I didn't know he had recruited, because I actually went to bed last night, and Ferris, the owner, and him, they finished one more cigar and continued to talk, which I hoped they would do. I kind of wanted them to finish up. And when this gentleman, I dropped him off at the airport, and he said, "Did you talk to Ferris?" And I said, "No, I left the house before he was awake." He said, "It's a done deal. I'm on board." I literally choked up. And I mean, I don't know a recruiter out there. Devin, you know my situation and
I
my
do.
state of life, and the money isn't that big a deal anymore. I made it past that. And that's not bragging. It's just that at 65 in this industry with 32 successful years, if you're not prepared for what's next after 65, then, that's your own damn fault.
Yeah.
And I got so excited that I choked up when I gave this guy a hug this morning. My
Yeah.
hair is standing up my arms right now, because I was so
Well,
excited, because it was just so cool to know that I'm helping somebody, that we're going to help him change his life. And you know what?
yeah.
He doesn't need us to change his life. He just wanted us to support him.
Well,
And
let's talk about this, Coach, because you just said something that's even more important than what a lot of people maybe heard there, right? You choked up because you gave him a hug. Well, when was the last time your recruiter hugged you, right? And then let's take that a step backwards. Well, you stayed the night. Did you stay the night at a hotel?
I stayed at the owner's house, Ferris's house.
Yeah.
We put the other couple of recruits in a hotel together,
Yeah.
because I
But
like.
where were they that night? Were they at the hotel?
No, we were at the house.
At the house, sitting around, smoking a cigar, eating a home cooked meal that the CEO of our company prepared for them,
Yeah.
right? That it's a whole different experience. It's a whole different experience. And like, at the end of the day, that's another thing you got to ask your question. Is the CEO of the company going to sit down with you and prepare a meal for you, and you get a hug on the flight home, right? Because let me tell you something, that's not recruiting. That's building a family, right? That's welcoming you home to a group of people that actually care. And again, we know that we may not be the right choice for everybody, but we may be the perfect choice for somebody, right? And when you're out there looking at who you make that next move with, Or is it that type of a movement to where you become part of the family and tears are shed on your way home, going, man, I made the right choice? Because let me tell you something, I had that same experience, Coach. And you guys can't see him, but John, our videographer, was there when I made my decision to transition over here as well. And we had a very similar experience on our way home too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
go to a company that cares, and that's it for us. Is that is actually our core value is care. Premier cares, right? So
Don't
um, you
don't
know,
be afraid of change. Embrace the change. And if you have a hard time with change, or you're just not that person where you need that extra help, I know we haven't done hard sells on Premier Lending, and I don't intentionally mean it to be, but I had the opportunity. I could just retire and do what I already had going on in my life, or I could come here and help build one more company. And some people say, well, they're not that big. Well, you know what? Neither were the other two companies that I grew into monsters over the years that I was a
that's
major
it.
part of. And every great big company starts as a great smaller company.
That's right.
So
That's right.
we're
Well,
good.
the foundation was already here, and that's what's important. At the end of the day, you've got to look at the company's foundation. Are they solid in a world right now where lenders are shutting their doors, and people are having to make change because of things like that, right? You've got to look at the lender that you're considering, and do they have the liquidity to be able to survive in this market? And do they have the ability because their back end is built right to be able to scale and size, right? Those things are important because you're putting your personal investment, which is your family, in the hands of that company, right? It doesn't get more personal than that. So make sure that you're aligned with the right place. And sometimes too big of a place and you become just a number and it doesn't matter, right? So, you've got to find the right fit for you and the right fit to make sure that you're making a change that's going to be an impactful change and forward momentum is being made so that you can become successful upon your wildest dreams, right? That's what we're looking for. We want to succeed. And, here I can tell you this much right now. We succeed and we succeed together because we are better together, Coach. It's my slogan. I'm going to keep saying it. And that's where you want to align with, whether it's us or not. Make sure that wherever you decide that you're going to go, that you're better together, right? That's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, this was fun today. It's a little hectic here. It's been really exciting the last 2 days, and the cookout was Tuesday night, and last night was just a drink after dinner, and the boys had a cigar. I don't smoke anymore. I haven't for years, but it was so nice, just relaxing, and
Yeah.
nobody was under the gun.
No pressure.
Embrace the change, man. It can be the right thing for you.
Yeah. And even if that change is on a larger scale and you're part of this big Rocket Cooper Redfin merger, right? Embrace it with whatever it is that you need to embrace, right? If you want to ride it out and see where that goes, do it, right? But do it with open arms. And, if you're scared, and you're thinking this isn't the place for me, just make sure before you make that next move, it's the right move.
Yep.
So, well, guys, this is the Coach's Corner sponsored by Premier Lending. I'm Devin Dubuque.
I'm Coach Rick.
We will see you on the next one.